it's interesting that you say, the example is a good one because we use it every day when we call an airline or call our bank, and and it's a generational thing. I'm convinced because if you look at my children or some of the young people in our office, they prefer an automated line because they feel it's reliable. They can get to what they want to, whether it's a bank balance or it's a upgrade on their flight. Where someone like me is saying, agent, zero, because I don't feel confident unless I'm talking to a human being.
I mean, I think that's...
And it's a very generational thing.
It is generational, but I'll give you an example. This is where I think we all have to learn what is really valued. So I'm flying JetBlue a month ago.
Yeah.
And they had their outage, their computer system outage, which basically froze everything, starting at 6 a.m. in the morning. I was flying at 6 o'clock that night. There wasn't one message through their apps, social media that they weren't
pushing anything.
They weren't pushing anything, and no one knew what was going on. Flights were delayed,
today, yeah.
And all they had to do was to just say, "We've had a computer system outage. We're backed up. If we can help make alternate plans for you, please contact us." But there was just no effort. So what I read, to the point about being comfortable with technology, I then Google, and I find, all the news services had reported this 6 hours before, or 9 hours before my flight. Yeah. But until I was disrupted, I was then reacting. Where to me, they could have, I didn't need to speak to someone. Yeah. I just needed to know, that something was happening.
Have that level of comfort. I was in Washington, D.C. just last month, and it was around the cherry blossom time of year. And I met with one of my old colleagues, and I won't name him only because he's still an official in the government.
All right.
And we talked a little bit about the jobless recovery. And I said to him, it's funny that you've been, it's whether it's the current administration or it's politicians, they seem perplexed by the concept of a jobless recovery. They say, we don't understand. Businesses are doing better, but there are no new jobs. And I said, it's really simple. We're going through a digital transformation, which is changing the type of employment that we have today. And you mentioned something in your presentation, which I thought just really, it grabbed me as a CEO of our own business. And it was the investment that was placed in you personally around rotating you around the company and giving you an opportunity to experience different aspects of the business. Today we live in a time where so many people are displaced because they feel like, I don't feel any connection with the company. I'm going to go to the next one that gives me $1 more.
Yep.
You had a very different experience. How do we bring that culture back into corporate America today? Because we need it, and we need the training investment along with it.
Well, I actually, I think about this issue a lot because I, think to myself how unbelievably lucky I have been that if I, hadn't had a company that had a long view of talent development and had thought that way and given me these opportunities. And frankly, you had to do a good job, but if you said yes, you could be in Bangkok. I was in Bangkok in a matter of weeks, from raising my hand to say, I want to do this, and having that be, a major stepping stone in my career development. But the problem today is we are so reluctant to make those investments because to the
fear. They're going to leave or whatever.
They're going to leave, or well, can we really justify the relocation costs? Because isn't it cheaper to find someone locally who? And that was at the time. This was in the mid '80s. We were at a moment when we weren't thinking about the cost. We were thinking about the value. Imagine the value of becoming this robust global network, being able to promise American Express or IBM or whoever it might have been that you can have a quality of talent in Thailand that is just as good as the talent in New York, whatever.
Sure.
And for those companies who are saying, we need to grow in those places, we need expertise, they thought it was great value. Yeah. Now, the first question is, how much does it cost? What are we really going to get? Is it worth it? Is the person going to stay?
Well, it's the commoditization of the job. It's the commoditization of the role.
Exactly. And yet no value proposition has more resonance for young people coming into our company than the promise of development as a global network.
Well, and I think when the question was brought up earlier is what are people going to do in this new digital economy if we don't have any more drivers because everything is automated, and we don't have any more tellers, and we don't have any more IT systems engineers and whatnot. And the answer was what we tell our clients is, well, we don't know yet, but people will find things to do. We'll innovate.
Right.
But I actually think it's our responsibility as executives to help people make us successful.
Yeah.
And not only that, we are training them. I love the concept of cross-training them because we do that in our firm.
Yep.
And we do it more because we believe it's a necessity for our business to succeed than really out of some grand strategy. I wish we had that strategy. We probably would get more out of it, and maybe we will after this experience with you. But I think that's what it is, because the great person today is a great generalist, I think, someone who's just genuinely smart and connected, not necessarily someone that has a lot of strong subject matter expertise.
Yeah, I'll give you one more reason, which I've just learned. When you take people and you give them that horizontal experience that's truly about relationships, right? Where for me, I had to develop, working relationships with people in other cultures and other countries. I developed a level of trust to try that in many other situations. One of my biggest problems is I can't find people who trust enough to bring in new experts, new expertise into problem solving, because their view is if they don't know it, they don't trust someone else who may know it. And if you don't build that, it's like I think someone mentioned this muscle memory. If you don't build an experience where people say, I'm so much better because I have I understand.
You have to build that into the culture.
You have to bring it into the culture, and you have to give it into people's employment experience. Because if they don't have it, they're unlikely to raise their hand and take the risk and say, oh yeah, I'll call XYZ person and ask them to come in and help me serve my client. They won't do it.
Yeah.
They won't do it. They'd rather almost get fired than take the risk of bringing in something new they don't appreciate.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time,
Pleasure.
and thank you for coming to AvasantConnect.
Great to be here.